Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 3,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 100 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network, brought to you in association with Powerslam.tv. Mucked it up there. Nice, great start to the episode there. Sponsors will be proud of us. Go to Powerslam.tv and put in the promo code Social Suplex, and you will get a 3 months worth of thousands upon thousands of hours of independent wrestling from around the globe. I'm joined by Ricky. Hello, Ricky. How are you, Ricky?
Yeah, good evening. Doing well. Yourself?
I'm already struggling with the end of the show, so I'll need to start working on the beginning of the show with our new sponsors.
You'll just need to continue working on the podcast in general.
Nice to see you too.
When you set me up with stuff, like, I can't resist.
Well, try have a New Year's resolution where you try and resist.
Right. My New Year resolution will be to be as nice as possible to you.
Just to everyone, because I've seen some of the texts you send. So, TLC happened on Sunday night on the WWE network for just $9.99 a month. Ricky, what were your thoughts on the Tables, Ladders and Chairs pay-per-view?
I thought it was kind of good. No real gripes. A couple of things, as usual, like, could have been better, but I felt overall it was a good night of wrestling. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I don't have too many gripes, if I'm honest. Everything, yeah, I was quite happy with everything. I thought, like I said, several matches really stood out. Enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, for me, I would go as far as to say that was the best pay-per-view of the year, personally. I think Evolution was a close one, but I think there were just a lot going for this year. This pay-per-view. A lot of wrestlers, for me, had their best matches they've had in a long time. It's possibly Ronda Rousey's best match that she's had in the company so far. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles both had their best matches in months. For AJ Styles, I'd go as far back as maybe the John Cena stuff, late 2016, early 2017. And the triple threat for the women's title, the TLC match, could have been a bit more polished. There was a lot of waiting about for the bus to come towards the end of the match. A few spots were called quite loudly, but for the most part, I was very much invested in that match. It was just, I wouldn't say, I know we here on the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show are fans of organised chaos. I would say this wasn't exactly organised chaos. There was a more deliberate pace to it than the likes of for instance, the SummerSlam 2017 main event, where that was just 1,000 miles an hour. This was only 100 miles an hour. That's not to say that was a bad thing, of course. Lots of crazy spots done by all the women involved. Off the top of my head, I can think of 5 or 6. And the rest of the card was pretty decent. There were a few that I didn't care much for, but overall, I was very, very pleased and impressed with what we got.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment, to be honest. Evolution was excellent. I think Royal Rumble as a whole, when you factor in how great the two Rumbles were as well. So yeah, I don't know if I would say it was the best pay-per-view. It certainly probably would land in the top 3 though, alongside those two. Mm-hmm. It says, I was agreeing with you again when it says a couple of matches I wasn't really interested in, or what I was invested in, like we addressed last week. But yeah, overall, a good night of wrestling. It says no real gripes what came from it. Mm-hmm. A lot of it from a booking aspect made sense. Yeah, like I says, it was a real fun night of wrestling.
I think with what's been going on TV for the last wee while, where a lot of the episodes of Raw and SmackDown have been heel heavy, where the heels have closed out the show on top, there were quite a few positives from the night, like Natalya getting the win. I quite enjoyed that match for what it was. Taking out all 3 of the Riot Squad was enjoyable to watch. Kayfabe wise, I've always been a fan of the Bar, so I know that New Day and the Usos are a top-notch tag team. I was personally quite happy that the Bar retained. I didn't think they would, so I was surprised that they did. I thought that match could have went another 5-10 minutes or so. It just, again, a lot of the tag matches that have, the so-called better tag team division on SmackDown, they're still not getting enough of an impetus for me. There's still something missing with regards to just how far they could possibly go, because we have seen the matches that the New Day and the Usos had last year, and we still haven't reached that peak yet. Again, when we know they can, I don't know if it's a timing issue with the card. It doesn't matter really, because it's a network thing. And this might be a controversial one, but I was over the moon with Asuka winning. Not purely because, but one of the reasons was, for the last wee while now, Becky, from a kayfabe point of view, she's done my boxing, if I'm being honest with you. She's arrogant, she's borderline narcissistic, she's gobby, and she just says the same things over and over again. I'm the man, I'm better than you, you're a chump. And for me, it was beginning to get a shelf life, just in terms of, right, what else are they going to be able to do with it? So for her to finally have her mouth shut for a minute and eat some humble pie, I did enjoy that. I'm not going to deny it. What do you think about that mild, lukewarm take?
She's at the point now, after just a few months, where taking the title off her, in my mind, doesn't really affect her status. She's one of those ones where she's still going to be box office, she's still a draw, even without the title. Asuka winning, Charlotte and Becky dropping the title, to me, just kind of, it's obviously now roads are leading to WrestleMania, and it's whether they go Becky versus Ronda or they insert Charlotte into the match and have a triple threat as well. So it was timing wise, it was fine for me. I think we said a few weeks back she has to drop the title at some point if they're going to go down the Ronda Becky route. Because for me, they weren't going to do champion versus champion, so Becky had to drop the title at some point before the Royal Rumble in order for her to probably get into the Rumble in order to challenge Ronda. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with you as well when it comes to the Becky character. Yeah, like, I think she's great, but at the same time, I'm just like, I can't really, I wouldn't say I'd be bothered or anything like that, but I think it's more so that, again, I don't think she's run her course. I think it's just more that, as great as she is, she still isn't one of my favourites. But yeah, it made sense for her to drop the title. And just to circle back to the to your tag team comment, you need to remember now it's joint pay-per-view, so minutes are going to be cut down. Everyone needs to get on a card. Everyone needs to get a number of minutes. So we're going to struggle to get those 20, 25 minute matches or whatever we're looking for. I'm happy the Bar retained, because I would like to see the Bar versus the Usos again.
Right.
And I think that could be the Royal Rumble feud. So yeah, I was on board with that, with them winning. I've always been a massive fan of Natalia. You know, I think everyone knows this. So, and it made sense for her to win as well. Yeah, overall, like I say, I don't really have many gripes, if I'm honest.
I think for me, Becky's doing her job well, and that I still believe that she's a heel, and what she's doing is annoying me. Okay, she's getting cheers, but the things that she's doing are still not nice things. I mean, she was on Edge and Christian's podcast last weekend, and it was basically, the first half of it was in kayfabe, where she was talking about what happened at SummerSlam and how Charlotte just waltzed in. And I was going into this podcast thinking it would just be breaking the kayfabe and we're talking to Rebecca Quinn, but it wasn't the case. And listening to her in isolation, you think, oh, you're quite insufferable at the moment.
It's a good word to describe her. And again, it's not so much that I hate who she is and the character she's portraying at the moment. It's just I was never really a Becky fan, so I never really lost my shit at all with her winning the title and doing everything she was doing. I thought it was great stuff, but she, you know, whatever, you know, for me.
So I wasn't against what she was doing as a character, but I was more than happy with her getting her comeuppance on Sunday night. On SmackDown this week, Charlotte and Becky were moaning about Ronda coming in to cost them the title, where both of them had attacked, either on social media or with a kendo stick, had rallied on, wailed on Ronda quite considerably. So it's only understandable that Ronda would come back with some sort of retaliation. So I think there's this, what's happening just now with Rousey, to a lesser extent Nia, and Becky and Charlotte, is at the end of the day, the women, they rule the roost over WWE right now in terms of just fan investment and what's the biggest storyline going forward. And I think I don't want to lock it up, because anything could happen when it comes close to the time. But there is if it was based on merit alone, then the women would main event WrestleMania this year, and it could come in any different shape or form. It could be any one of those 3, 4, whoever are involved. Asuka might still be in the picture. Don't know what's going to happen, but they could, with the fact that they could do lots of different combinations right now, and every one of them would be must see. They've done something very well with the women over the last 5-6 months, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I've long said that they'll get a women's match to close WrestleMania, and the only way it doesn't now happen is if Brock drops the Universal title at WrestleMania. But even at that, I can still see the women closing the show anyway. Like you said, it's not even, and it won't be a case of we're just doing it to make ourselves look good. It's they've earned it. So yeah, I can see it happening. But I do think it's going to be a combination of Becky Lynch, Ronda, and Charlotte. However they go about it, I'm not entirely sure. It wouldn't bother me if it was a one-on-one or it was a triple threat, to be honest. There's enough of a storyline to go either way.
I think
where it would make sense.
I think it's good to insert the likes of Asuka into this right now, because if it's just the three of them from October, November all the way through to April, things could get stale quickly. So having someone else hold the title, roundabouts Rumble season, roundabouts Chamber season as well, that'll be an interesting. If, as far as I'm aware, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view will be SmackDown's pay-per-view this year. No, in fact, it won't, because it was mixed. It's mixed bag again, isn't it?
It will be, yeah.
Dual branded, so I wonder how that will work. Yep. I'm sure they'll have some sort of women's chamber match anyway. So, God knows what match, what lineup we'll get for that match, but it could be quite a star-studded number, especially if it's dual branded.
Yep.
So, the match itself, the triple threat match, as I say, there were a couple of bits where it was just a bit clumsy, but some of the spots that were taken, Asuka being speared through the barricade, Charlotte doing the somersault onto the table, Becky doing the sort of leg drop senton, which she landed square on Charlotte's ribs. That looked mightily sore, that one. Asuka throwing Becky onto the ladders, which you saw on Becky's face just how sore that was. So there wasn't a lack of chaos in this one, for sure.
No, there wasn't. And then with Ronda coming down as well, like it says, at least there's a continuation of the story we've been told for the last sort of 5 weeks or so. Mm-hmm. Overall, I think this was my second match of the night. I think AJ and Daniel Bryan was probably my favourite.
Mm-hmm. We'll get on to that shortly.
It was great that they closed the show. Like you said, overall, like, they weren't holding back at all. You know, they were taking bumps that you would expect in a normal TLC match. And like I said, I think the right person win. I definitely think that, because on the flip side, if Asuka didn't win, it's just a case of where do you now go with Asuka? Mm-hmm. So at least now she's got some impetus. She's been injected with a new lease of life, and we'll be interested to see where they go with her, because, like you said, you could always rerun the triple threat match at the Rumble and still have Charlotte and Becky Lynch enter the Royal Rumble. So there's a number of possibilities. Overall, I thought this match from start to finish was really, really good. I don't think there was anything that happened or took place in the match that bothered me.
If I wanted to tidy anything up, I would rather Ronda came down a bit more quickly to the ring, because Becky and Charlotte were just standing there waiting for the bus to come.
Yep.
But the match, see what's crazy about all this, when Ronda came down and Asuka ended up winning the title, and all four of them had a huge part to play in that evening. This all kind of wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Nia Jax's face-breaking moment, which is crazy to think about.
Yep, and I don't want to give her too much credit, because it's not like it was planned or anything.
At the end of the day, she gave a colleague a concussion, and that could end up making Becky susceptible in the future.
And the fact that now she's got that finisher as well, just a big stupid punch, and it's like, really, like I'm not going to hate on Nia. I think she has improved and stuff like that. So, but that finisher, it's just like the Big Show's knockout punch. It's awful. I don't like it at all.
Well, she might not be the best wrestler, but she seems to bring out the best in Rousey, because their match at Money in the Bank was very decent, and this one I think was elevated in quality again. Rousey had incorporated a few new moves into her arsenal, with the top rope frog's crossbody right out to the ring. That was really excellent. And it was kind of like scaling a monster, or trying to topple King Kong, where she's climbing up Nia Jax's leg to hit the sort of Superman punches. That's
a much better version. A much better version, in my opinion. That was really nice. And the way she transitions into the armbar as well, I think just looks natural and fluid, and looks excellent as well.
Yep. Those 3 or 4 moments in the match just put that into one of my favourites of the night, actually. So maybe Nia Jax shouldn't get credit for it, but the fact that she's just this immovable object, and that allows Ronda to be a bit more creative, I appreciated that, definitely.
Yeah, like it says, it's worked out that that little bit better for everyone, because we could have got Becky and Ronda at Survivor Series, and then, we wouldn't have got this potentially amazing build now to WrestleMania. So, yeah, but Nia more than played her part in the match as well. Ronda, you can just see it. Anyone that denies it either doesn't know wrestling or just wants to hate that she's just getting better and better and better.
I haven't actually seen Raw this week, so I didn't get to see the match with Natalya. Have you seen it?
Whose match with Natalya?
Oh, that's the spoilers for next week.
Yeah, you just ruined the spoiler there.
Oh, well, I'm sure that if it's out there, a lot of folk will not care. Well, Natalya, it wasn't a surprise that Natalya won the gauntlet match, was it? I don't mean it wasn't a surprise, I mean that people know that now, so they knew that her and Ronda will be fighting.
Yep, it was following week. No,
so I don't know what
even
that was.
That was a nice way to finish Raw as well. I don't know if we ever had a women's gauntlet match.
Not that long ago.
Say that again, sorry?
There was a gauntlet match not that long ago on Raw.
I mean, like, closing Raw. It was certainly like a big women's match anyway that closed Raw, and that was quite fun. We've all been kind of waiting on the Ronda and Natalya match to happen. Like, the natural thing would have been where Natalya turns on her, but we didn't even get that. So yeah, it'll still be a good match to look forward to for next week. Natalya coming off that tables win as well on Sunday. There was a couple of things from which kind of ties in with, like, for me, just how safe or worker Natalya is. Like, you can see her just before she puts her through the table. You can see her kind of peering round the corner just to make sure everything's all right. And I remember on the outside of the ring, she slapped her really hard, and you can hear her saying, "Are you okay?" And then she continued beating her up. So,
are you okay? Then flung her head off the apron.
I've always been a big Natalya fan. I've always been a big Natalya fan.
I'm trying to think of the other sort of lesser matches on the card before we get into what we believe was the match of the night. The mixed tag match.
Yeah, I have no opinion on it really.
No, sorry.
I mean, I voiced my opinion on last week. I just didn't like what the winners got, the 30th spot in the Royal Rumble, but that's just from like a purely selfish point of view. I didn't like it. Yeah, it's nice. I'm just kind of repeating myself what I said last week. It's nice that the winners of it get something that means something, but that's not what I wanted from it.
Aye. And I've kind of got, see, because I watch the likes of Lucha Underground and ICW, the women flat on fight the men, and it's not an issue there. So when I see the mixed tag matches, and it's very restricted in what they can do. So if someone tags in, so say a woman tags into the match, the man has to tag out and stuff. It's just, the stipulation doesn't do much for me. I'd rather they just...
And I think they're probably looking at that they don't want to come across like the biggest wrestling company in the world is having these men fight the women continuously, or every year or whatever, or once in a blue whatever. I know you still get incidents where you have the men and women clash a little, but that's just my view on it. That they're probably conscious of what people were thinking of it.
I mean, it's fair enough, I suppose. It's just not to my personal taste.
No, I get it.
Another match that I didn't. In fact, this is where I was getting spruced up for work and stuff. Was the chairs match between Mysterio and Orton. Nothing amazing there. I have actually seen better chairs matches, and they involved Kalisto and Baron Corbin. So. Didn't have that much going for it, in my own opinion.
I would agree. Ray's white mohawk thing from his mask was a bit probably the biggest thing I took away from this match.
I think the one thing I did like was Ray sort of surfboarding out through the ring with the chair underneath him. That was quite cool, but apart from that, again, like I said last week, this is 2018. I don't really need to see a match between Orton and Mysterio.
And like we said last week, it's not a match we were that overly invested in anyway, so
the match, well, we talk about the WWE title match then, before we go into the slightly more negative parts of the show. The Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. I said at the start of the show tonight, I haven't seen Daniel Bryan, this has been his best match since he came back, and for AJ Styles, you're talking well over 12 months personally for what we can see and what we got. Not sure of the running time, but that was a right gritty, technical. They managed to combine technical and brawling into the same movesets, which is quite a rare thing to see. I didn't have a clue who was going to win in the outcome of it all. Like obviously I thought Daniel Bryan was going to win, but you're watching a good match when you catch your breath and think, oh, this is actually going to be the end. So I would go as far as say maybe match of the year for the main roster, personally.
It's certainly amongst the very best, if not the best. I've enjoyed all three of their matches. The second one was my favourite up until obviously the Sunday one. The way that ended as well, I was fine with that as well.
Yeah,
where
I saw
AJ gets out in a small package and Daniel Bryan reverses it.
I saw some gripes about that online. I didn't understand it because they literally threw everything at each other, where they were both in each other's submission holds. As far as I'm aware,
it was just a case of, look, I've just outsmarted you, kind of thing. But yeah, I thought the match itself, it was just a showcase of two great wrestlers. I don't know if I would go as far back to say it was AJ's best work since Cena. Because like I said, I have enjoyed some of these matches he's had on SmackDown. The one we've had with Almas, the two he's previous with Daniel Bryan. Some of his stuff with Joe was good. The Nakamura matches I felt overall were quite good other than those final 30 seconds or so. But yeah, I would agree but probably has been his best match in a long time though. But at the same time, I don't want to knock some of the other stuff that he's done because he's still put on some real solid matches. They
have been solid, but this was over and above them.
I think this was just that little bit extra, that little bit more.
There was an urgency to it that's been missing from their work for a wee while, and I think it was one of those matches where both of them weren't in the mood for tapping out. Neither of them, as far as I can recall, could lock in their finishers, whether it was the running knee or the Styles Clash. So it would make sense that it was a roll-up small package that earned Daniel Bryan the victory. I would say, have you caught up with Daniel? Did you read what happened in next week's SmackDown? Will we not mention any more spoilers for next week's show?
No, let's not.
Okay. Well, I would say Daniel Bryan's doing a really good job as a heel. He's coming out with stuff. I'd actually listened to Mags and Bags' podcast debut last week on the Visionaries Wrestling Network, and he had talked about Daniel Bryan spouting all this stuff about better for the environment, yet he's walking about with a leather title.
Yep.
So there's a hypocrite there. He mentioned that he was a hypocrite. Saxon had mentioned this week that he was a hypocrite. He's coming across as a total douchebag, but I'm enjoying just how someone who can be so over with the crowd for years and years and years, in a matter of weeks, is a hated figure. Got to hand it to him there.
And that's it. Like, I think we said I actually prefer him as a heel to a face. I think a lot of people kind of forgot just how great of a heel he was, just because of the kind of run he was on as a babyface.
I much prefer his wrestling style. I mean, did you see?
I think it suits him. His wrestling style suits him better being a heel. because he can be aggressive with his leg kicks and his headbutts and his running knees, etc., and some of his submission moves, etc. So, yeah, I've enjoyed his work so far. I still think I would still like to see him and The Miz, to be honest, at WrestleMania. Not sure if he'll ever go down that route again, but yeah, I've really enjoyed his work recently. I enjoyed some of the stuff with The Miz, even though, like I said, I wasn't like, I was happy to see him back, but it was one of those ones where it never really bothered me if he didn't come back. Just not in the sense that, like, I don't care if you ever get healthy, but just a case of, alright, okay, you're back, happy that you're back, but that's about it. I think this is the first time since his return that I'm starting to actually get invested in him again.
That's true. Maybe that's because of the competition he's had so far. I was on board with The Miz, but not so much Big Cass.
No, and like I said, at the time I said I didn't mind the Big Cass thing as much, as long as it was a kind of one and done kind of situation, and we'll just quickly move past and head into another feud, because I was a believer that I don't want to see the Miz feud straight out the gate, because that has legs in it. Let's make this last until next WrestleMania. And now I'm kind of excited what they might do to the Royal Rumble if they go the route that we're all hoping for.
I don't know. I mean, the landscape's changed considerably.
It has, because one of the top 2 or 3 wrestlers in the company just made his move to SmackDown Live. So
officially, yes, Mr. Ali himself.
And I'm kind of disappointed that when he hit his finisher, and Daniel Bryan, I don't know if he got hurt, but it looked really bad. I'm disappointed that happened, because I'm just not wanting anyone to have any kind of ammo against Mustafa Ali. I think he's unbelievable in the ring.
See, he also,
and he could make a big name for himself now.
In the same match last night, he was leaping off the stairs outside and tried to, well, he did eventually Hurricanrana Almas, but kind of botched it. So that was 2 flops that we hardly ever, and I mean ever, see from Ali. So
I don't think I've ever seen him do it like that.
It's a shaky. He was on Lillian Garcia's podcast. I've not actually listened to it yet, but he was on and he said about his 054. He doesn't actually know what he's doing. He just lets his body do the motion, and he doesn't think about positioning. Should he have admitted that, considering what had happened? Because it's
maybe not. But you know, and I saw people saying, "Oh, why is he not going to get like some grief like Nia got?" Because, like I said, I don't know if he's ever made mistakes like that before.
I don't think there was any. I think Daniel Bryan was okay after it anyway.
And he says so according to the reports that he was fine and he didn't want to make an issue about it, and it looked like Mustafa Ali was apologising kind of as it happened or just after the match, etc. So look, at the end of the day, it happened once. If it continuously happens, then we'll call him out on it. But like I says, this is a guy who, in my mind, is kind of almost flawless, and who I don't see making these kind of mistakes. And my God, if we get Daniel Bryan versus Mustafa Ali at Royal Rumble, I don't even need Mustafa Ali to go over. You know, like, as much as I love him, I don't expect him to whatsoever. But my God, that's going to be a great match if we get that. And next week on SmackDown, it's Mustafa Ali versus Andrade Almas. So, you know, I'm not sure how that match went down. Not sure how long it got.
All I know is that he didn't.
Please don't die until you get to see this match.
All I know, who, me, or because of my coughing?
Yes, you're coughing.
All I know is that there were no mistakes repeated from the first match that he had this week.
Honestly, Mustafa Ali is just going to be. He's going to be huge.
And what we were saying about the landscape, I know a lot can happen in 4 months, but they've done this long game with Shane a couple of times now leading up to WrestleMania, where he's involved with some talent, and it leads right up to WrestleMania. So I'm not here for a Miz versus Shane match at WrestleMania. But on the other hand, right now, you've got this thing going on between Ali, who has been taken under the wing on screen of AJ Styles as well.
Oh my goodness.
You've just thought of Ali and AJ, haven't you?
Yes, I thought that's where you were going.
I had actually done a sort of a mini column series last year, doing some fantasy booking about 205 Live wrestlers facing off against WWE roster guys, and it was Ali versus a heel AJ Styles.
Because what you could then just do is, I know with Fox coming up, so we don't know how that's going to change the landscape, but a heel AJ would be interesting, and you could always put AJ over to Raw.
Do you know?
Or, like you say, with the Fox deal coming over, you'll bring more people over. Is it going to go to 3 hours? No idea. Probably going to stay at 2, who knows. But yeah, just a turn for AJ would be excellent, because his heel work was just unbelievable as well. And that's when I really started noticing his mic work started getting better and better and better. So, yes, I never thought of that until you just said it. So, and to me that kind of makes sense, because I think a big question had been, what is AJ going to do at WrestleMania?
Do you know,
and
see, as
that's your match right there.
As a non-title match, and let's not beat about the bush, I'm not just saying this because I'm a 205 mark. Ali has been shown as a big deal on SmackDown in 2 weeks already, because after the match last week, the tag team guys were high-fiving him backstage. This week, he's getting his hand raised by the face that runs the place, who's a corporate, like Vince McMahon loves AJ Styles, and AJ Styles has taken Ali under his wing. Ali pinned Daniel Bryan, the new Daniel Bryan, the champion.
Clean.
As of this moment, Ali's a big deal on SmackDown Live. There is nothing, and I don't know what's going on with this. This is for the fans era that we're going into now. But if they keep going with this and AJ turns heel or something, I would be more than happy with Ali versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania as just a non-title match.
Oh my goodness. And next week we get Mustafa Ali to take on a guy who is every bit as good as anyone in the company, and Almas. So that's 3 weeks in a row.
That's 3 televised weeks. That can make an impact.
And I saw a spoiler regarding next week, which makes me very happy. I won't say anything because I know some people might not have saw it. Maybe people have, but if anyone knows me and you know me, and you'll know what spoiler I'm talking about, it made me extremely happy. And
I predicted this before anything happened this week as well.
That's true, you actually did. So, yeah. I know we're going to touch on the new era we're entering, so I'll leave that just now. I don't want to deviate too much from TLC. Got a couple of things I want to say about it, but
right, on you go then.
No, I mean we'll get to it.
I know this is a natural. It's not the most smooth of segues.
No, I think it is.
Sorry, we were just gushing about Ali.
They kind of left themselves open in the sense that people are now going to think that they get to control what happens.
And that is so far from the truth.
Yeah, and I hope no one thinks that now all of a sudden we as a fans control the narrative. Vince McMahon controls the narrative. He has us thinking that we're going to control the narrative. In reality, he's controlling the narrative. I think what you're more so getting, in the way I took from it, is that we are going to listen to people properly, but I think it's going to be more so like we're now going to transition to what NXT and 205 are. More based on wrestling, maybe. Different matchups, different guys getting called up, moving people around. And that ties in, like I say, because we saw some fresh matchups straight away on both shows.
We did.
And I know some people have got an issue with the whole Baron Corbin, Kurt Angle thing, but they were kind of killing that story, they were ending it. It was a kind of, Triple H and Vince McMahon, Stephanie coming out and saying that you screwed up these last 3 or 4 months or whatever it is, and this is now us handing down the punishment to you, and that's us now drawing a line under it. Finishing up with women's gauntlet match, we had a fatal 4-way for the number 1 contendership for tag titles. We move over to SmackDown. We get that tag match. Next week we're getting Almas and Mustafa Ali. We're getting another matchup, which is exciting. So, look, I'm going to let myself get carried away. Kind of almost contradicts what I say to you and Outsiders Edge guys in our WhatsApp group. I kind of want to wait and see, because the reality is you can write 2 or 3 good months worth of TV building up to WrestleMania, but for me the big thing is what's going to happen post WrestleMania. That's when I really want to see is how much you quote unquote listen to the fans, or if we're entering this new era. Because, and the thing with Raw is that it's not like you can still have some of these stupid segments that you have, but see if you just sprinkled in enough 15-20 minute great wrestling matches, I think a lot of people would be happy, because I think at the end of the day it's extremely difficult to write 3 hours off of TV and keep going it fresh. But I think for the most part, if you just give people wrestling, a lot of people will be happy with that. Like I says, I'm still going with that whole wait and see approach, but at the same time, I'm just going to let myself get carried away and just start fantasising what we might see. And if I get disappointed by it, so be it. I'd rather be the kind of person that lets himself get hyped up to ultimately be disappointed, as opposed to getting into something saying, being pessimistic about it and doubting people. So, look, I think it could be exciting. I think it's more so we're now looking, maybe could be heading towards like I said a minute ago, we could be heading towards like a 205 NXT type kind of shows. Where it is where it is a lot of wrestling. NXT obviously does, there's a lot of character development going on as well, but I think you're probably going to see less, probably less nonsense now.
I don't know.
Like I said, I'm hoping, I'm happily going to let myself get carried away, because I would rather be like that.
Okay. I mean, there were positives for me on both nights. One of them, the thing that we've gushed about for the last 5-10 minutes, in Ali so far being a prominent feature on SmackDown. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are close to returning.
Very close.
That flew under the radar. Too many people.
Well, I would say Sami more than KO.
I'm surprised at both of them, because Sami was out for many months because of one shoulder injury. But when he was supposed to come up in the main roster the first time, this was both of his shoulders. So I thought he would be out for a long time. It might still be a good few weeks, but both guys are coming back. That's a big deal. And
I hope they treat it like a big deal.
I hope so. But the thing is, which bothers me, and it will continue to bother me, the amount of vitriol that Vince McMahon gets online is ridiculous, because, let's not deny it, he got a pop that was much louder in comparison to the man on Tuesday night there.
Sorry, say that again?
Vince McMahon got a massive pop in comparison to Becky Lynch on SmackDown this week when the music hit. You have
made my feelings clear about that.
You've got all the McMahons back, the McMahon-Helmsley era, if you will. I mean, I'm watching Vince on SmackDown. He had a funny stuff with The Miz. He seemed to choreograph when they almost slid down the ramp, and it looked as if they'd both been practicing for a dance or something, which made me giggle quite a bit, actually. I don't know why, I just thought it was hilarious. And then when he was saying to Becky, all you're doing is just moan, I thought, you're right. But this is all happening because of the decisions that you've made over the last God knows how many months, yet people are still cheering him. How long before what's changed? Because it's basically a babyface version of the Authority.
Yeah, I mean, see, at the end of the day, I've given up saying what I want to say about people cheering Vince. I think he's always going to be cheered now, no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just who he is now, because you rarely see him on TV. I find it idiotic and stupid that people cheer him, but yet come on the internet and say the kind of things that we say. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is now. I don't like it, but you know, it's like beating a dead horse. I've said it plenty of times now, so there's no point in continually going on about it.
Yeah. And no doubt, somewhere down the line, the McMahons will start bickering with each other. It's just...
Probably. And I'm hoping we don't see them again every week now.
I'm very conflicted because I am a proponent of modern talent on the TV, but Mr. McMahon's a damn good character.
He is, he's a great character. I wouldn't actually mind seeing an NXT Triple H kind of character. I know he doesn't appear on NXT TV, but, you know, like, we all associate him with being Mr. NXT, etc., etc. Even if he just comes in and he's just a kind of a general manager that just calls it straight down the middle, if you know what I mean. Makes good matches, etc. Isn't on the screen as much other than some random backstage segments. Like, there's going to be some sort of GM, some sort of managerial authority or something on the shows. I don't think they've ever done it, have they? In my mind, that there hasn't been something like that.
Oh, you'd be going back. I mean, you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Vince on TV every week. And who knows, maybe there's some sort of long game plan where you're saying that we might end up starting to see them bicker, where it could just kind of come down to just in time when the XFL comes in. You know, do they do something along the lines like Triple H is trying to get ownership or take control of the company or something? Who knows? But yeah, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see Vince, to be honest, every week.
I don't, but I did enjoy what I saw.
I don't get me wrong, like
he's
I don't. When he comes back, and it's a big deal.
But at the same, it's as I said, I'm conflicted. So I'm just going to see what happens. You and I have been very vocal between ourselves. Looking forward to the break that we've got coming up. We can just sort of tune out a wee bit. So we'll just...
Oh, you put that too nicely.
I know.
So here it is. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to get some bonus episodes that we've already pre-recorded, because for 3 weeks I am going to cut wrestling out of my life, and I cannot fucking wait.
Until you go to Takeover Blackpool.
Yeah, basically the week of Takeover Blackpool, I'm going to catch up on whatever I need to catch up on. And I know Wrestle Kingdom's round the corner as well. I kind of get to enjoy that once a year, because, like we say, we're not watchers of that product on a weekly basis. So, but yeah, for the most part, can't wait.
We'll give you details on the bonus pods at the end of this show. One quick thing before we go back to TLC. Your opinion on the choices of NXT call-ups. So we had EC3, Lars Sullivan.
I like.
Already sick of the sight of Lars Sullivan, and he's not even been on the main roster yet.
Don't care.
Lacey Evans.
Could be good.
Could be an absolute heat magnet on Raw. Honest to God, if she keeps up what she's been doing, well, she's this military sailor girl. I think she's better than everyone. I think she could be excellent. Nikki Cross.
I've saw people tweeting saying things like, "How can you have that kind of character when she's never served in the military?" You're like, "Oh, jeez.
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness." Because fucking Ben Affleck comes from Gotham City, doesn't he?
But she has served.
Has she? I wasn't sure.
I'll double check, but she has.
Who was the other one? Nikki Cross.
I mean, see in a way, they actually apart from Heavy Machinery, funnily enough, the rest of them aren't really involved in any storylines in NXT at the moment, because Nikki Cross is just running about shouting and bawling as if she's in a soft play centre. Lacey Evans has just been running through a lot of jobbers, basically. EC3, there's been a wee thing going on between him and Bobby Fish, but it's not amounted to much. It was actually due to the injuries of Rowe or Hansen, don't know which one. Apparently one of them ruptured their spleen during that takeover match. War Games. So War Raiders are out of action at the moment, so it looked as if Heavy Machinery would be the next ones to go for the NXT tag titles. But they've been called up, so it's actually, out of all those names, I mean, Heavy Machinery are a bizarre, I don't mean they're bizarre, they're a very acquired taste, because they're just off their nut. All they talk about is stakes and weights. But I think it could... they won't revitalise the tag team divisions.
No, but it adds another sort of credible-ish team to it. I'm most excited for EC3. I think everyone probably in agreement that his character and mic work, gimmick, in-ring ability, etc. was always most suited for Raw. That's he's not saying he's going to become like the top guy, but he's certainly going to be upper mid card. Yeah, I've been a fan of his for a while, so that may be the only one. I couldn't care less about Lars Sullivan.
Oh,
I guarantee in 6 months' time he's going to be a nothing. He's going to be nobody on the main roster.
Well, look at remember the vignettes he did for the new Emma?
Mm-hmm.
Emmalina, and it just nothing. This Lars Sullivan thing. That's what I'm a wee bit worried about with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. How many coming soon videos are we going to see?
I hope we don't see any, because my God, that return's going to be sensational.
Lacey Evans was a former US Marine. And EC3, as you've said many times, he's tailor-made for the main roster.
Oh, you just know as soon as Vince saw him for the first time, you know.
Oh, the second time?
The second time. He got hard for him, so...
God damn it.
You know it. So vascular, you know it. So... I like EC3, I do.
Yeah, he's nothing special for me, but I can see how he would work well in the main roster. Right, a couple of things before we move on to the quiz that we haven't talked about for TLC. The segment with Baron Corbin, where all the people who have been affected by his mismanagement over the many months managed to get their comeuppance, and Braun Strowman came in, arm in sling, for the win of a TLC match, which means Baron Corbin is now no longer in power. Right, okay. It was alright. You had the bad guy who's been running roughshod over the product for a while now eat his humble pie. I don't know why what's they called? Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel. Gable and Rude were there because, okay, they might have had dealings with Baron Corbin, but they're the tag champs. It would have made a lot more sense if the Revival were out there, personally speaking. The amount of shite they've had to put up with.
But they're still claiming the Revival are heels, despite fucking Lucha Underground being the ones that are portraying the heel tactics.
Lucha Underground?
Sorry, Lucha Lucha House Party. So, make sure you sign that petition the Revival have put out on Twitter, folks.
But see, what I've got issues with is the big payoff from this match, quote-unquote match, where Braun Strowman has a title match against Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble. Whoop-de-doo. Look what's happened many times in the past. Braun Strowman has been made to look like a naive nincompoop every single time, especially in singles competition. Not so much in multi-men environment, but still looks a bit of an idiot.
Especially when it comes to Brock.
That's what I mean. The Brock matches.
What? There's no evidence that suggests that we should have any concern about the outcome of this match.
It is probably the most predetermined. It's more predetermined than my alarm going off in the morning.
I just don't like the idea of it. Just don't. Unless they do the unthinkable and actually put the title on Braun. The segment itself I don't have an issue with, because clearly he wasn't ready. And it was kind of, well, he won't be, and it was just a case of, right, let's keep him as safe as possible because he's going to be ready for the Rumble.
Just, and look what's happened to Braun Strowman this year. Oh,
that's what I'm saying. It's difficult to really get behind him because what we've been told really in the last 18 months or so is that he's incapable of winning the big one.
There's the test to see if the company's listening to the fans. Maybe this is the story. That finally, I don't know how you can portray him as an underdog, but I suppose when anyone's against Brock as an underdog, but maybe that's the story, that he finally beats him, but wasn't that kind of a Roman story? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. It's like I said, it's just difficult to get behind it because of everything that's took place so far.
It's rinse and repeat. That's been happening. We had got into a mild debate in one of the group chats where I said it's all cyclical at the moment. Well, the stuff that's going on with separately Brock Lesnar, separately Braun Strowman, and both of them together, that has been on repeat for over a year now. So, just, I don't care. And the other match, Braun, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins.
Before we get into that, there's one match you're missing.
I know, and I'm trying to rack my brains for it.
Well, it involves a certain Scotsman.
Well, that says how much I thought about that match. It was alright.
You know, that's the biggest travesty of the night.
That it was just alright.
No, that fucking
alright.
Finn went over.
Finn is over though, remember?
Fuck that, man. Fuck. It's fucking Drew.
I'm talking about Finn's over
I know, but it's fucking... Drew McIntyre, man. I liked the match. I really liked the match. I just didn't like the fact Drew lost.
I think I'd need to watch that match again.
Fuck, man. Fucking hell. Just not a fan of that decision at all.
Because I'm not as into Drew Mac as you are, it didn't bother me that much.
Blasphemy. He's Scottish.
Just like if Thanos' glove was on reverse, Vince can snap his fingers and make Drew a star within seconds. So I don't know if I've got much input.
I don't really get the Thanos reference when people keep talking about it. So sorry, folks.
Yes, probably the only person who's not a Marvel mark.
Marvel, DC, couldn't give a fuck.
That sounded like a wee song.
In fact, to be fair, I have watched a couple of Spider-Man films, and I've watched, was it Batman vs Spider-Man, like from 2016 or whatever it was? Fucking knows.
That shows how much you know if you're saying Batman vs Spider-Man.
Oh, sorry, Superman. See, I don't give a fuck about any of them.
I don't know.
The elephant in the room has yet to be addressed.
Yeah, the rivalry that has been going on for 4 years in a way, the storyline between Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, they have produced over the years many great matches, sometimes classics within their genre. This for me was, I'm not going to say it was shit, but they were...
Shit. No, it wasn't.
In comparison to their other matches, it was shit, and in comparison, it was sandwiched in between two matches of the year contenders. But not only that, they did the whole thing with Seth selling his knee again.
Oh, no.
And I'm sick of seeing that in his matches, because it means nothing when he's jumping and hobbling about, and then he does a series of suicide dives as if there's nothing wrong with him. It's like, listen, pal,
I know, but I think it's more so like, oh, fuck, has something happened? But no, I'm okay. Do you know, Like, you kind of summarised it just in a few words perfectly. It wasn't as good or as great as their first set of matches. In a standalone match itself, it was kind of fine. But when you saw what's happened a few years ago, and you kind of thought where the initial build started to now where it ended, you're kind of like, I'm somewhat disappointed where we are now. My biggest issue, without a doubt, from the entire match, and probably the entire pay-per-view, if I'm honest with you,
I know what you're going to say,
was the start of the match.
All right, that wasn't what I was going to say.
What do you think I was going to say?
You say your point first.
So, Dean winning makes all the sense in the world. No issues with Dean winning whatsoever. My issue was you started off in the fucking locking up. You locked up at the start of a match where you're apparently, you hate one another, like really don't like one another. It just kind of took me back to remember when we had Jeremy on for the SummerSlam review, when AJ and Joe, the way they started the match, it's like, man's been talking about your wife and kid, and you just lock up. They should have just, as soon as AJ should have just come running down to the ring and just started laying into Joe, and I felt that it should have started off like that. It had, what the story's been told basically is that Ambrose had kind of come back and set it in a fight or a feud that he shouldn't have been in part of because he was too busy recovering because he almost died. And then you have the whole fact when the night he did turn on him was with Roman's announcement. You're meant to hate one another, and that's what they started off like. And I know some people are going to come back and counter that with some sort of point. That's fine, but for me, I wanted them to start off very quickly where Rollins jumps on him straight away rather than locking up. That was my biggest issue for the entire pay-per-view, because that initial 10, 15 seconds or whatever didn't marry up with the entire history of your feud.
And their back catalogue.
Yep. Because this feud isn't just the last 6 weeks or so. You can't, like, it's in one kind of long feud.
Collars and elbows don't bother me as much as it does others people, to be honest. But I take your point on board, and I do accept that there are certain matches where a more heated exchange should start matches, so that's fair enough.
Like the way Joe and AJ started in Australia.
Yes, that was excellent. Or the way Rock and Brock started in 2002.
Or when Shawn Michaels and Diesel started it in your house.
Mm-hmm. The thing that bothered me the most, just, well, ahead of the selling the knee injury, once again, there was another thing actually where Seth was about to do a curb stomp and Dean put the fist out for a fist bump. It seemed as if, I think it's happened in one of their own matches, but one of the most iconic moments from 2018 was when Gargano sat down beside Ciampa at the New Orleans takeover, and it was as if you thought for a split second that they're going to.
Yeah.
It felt as if it was a cheap imitation of that on Sunday night. They were trying to go down that road, and it was just Seth Rollins. I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me. But the bickering between Renee Young and Corey Graves took me right out of that match, and it was incessant, and they kept going on to each other. Corey Graves was hitting out with shit. Renee Young was defending herself when she shouldn't have to, and it was just, of all people, Michael Cole said, "Call the match," but then he started on saying he is a bit strange, Renee, don't you think? But listen, this is not.
I saw your tweets.
They are not supposed to be. They were commentating as if it was a Raw match. This was a pay-per-view match. You should be talking about what's going on in the ring, what's going on between those guys, not what Dean smells like because he doesn't have a shower in the house. Come on.
If you want to know the importance of commentators, just go back and watch this match and just listen to the commentators then. So for people sitting at home. Because the great thing about Jim Ross was...
Shout out to JR.
Shout out to JR. The big thing about Jim Ross was that even the most insignificant moment felt like a big moment because he made you believe it was. So the commentator is there obviously to call the match, but it's also to get you hooked and kind of tell you as well what's going on in terms of a story. When they're too busy doing what they're doing on Sunday, it, like you said, it completely takes your attention away from what's going on in the ring.
It was so distracting.
And this is now the second time in 6 months or so where the fans have quote unquote hijacked a Seth Rollins match. Like, just think to yourself, you don't think Vince McMahon picks up on these things? Will we want Seth to dethrone Brock? You think maybe he's now going to be like, no, well, maybe you don't care about Seth that much, or maybe Seth isn't as good as you all make out.
But they're not helping it when they do this commentary story either. I don't know what to think.
The crowd don't know that though.
I know. I don't know what to think about Seth's matches being sabotaged. I don't know what that means.
That could be an interesting discussion.
To dissect and open up, I suppose. But see, in the same breath, Seth has been a strong contender for male superstar of the year.
Oh, without a doubt.
But at the same time, he's having matches where they're doing the buzzer sounds and stuff, and then this is boring.
That's it.
It's just, but I mean, even with mixed matches, with the chairs match, this Dean Seth match was low down in my enjoyment of the pay-per-view.
It says I probably agree with that. I've got my top 3 or 4 matches and that's not in it. Like I says, I'm not one of the people that absolutely hated it. I love it. Like I says, I think maybe because we expected that a little bit more, maybe they're saving some more, maybe it's just, I'm not sure. But like I said, I'm not going to shit on it because like I said, it just wasn't. I don't hold it in the same regards I held it the previous matches. That's all. Mm-hmm. But that in itself, if you look at it in a cold light today, is that may not be like a negative. That might not be us like criticising it because of how great the initial stuff was. Because like I said, in a standalone match on its own, like I didn't have too much of an issue with it. But like I said, I was just expecting that a little bit more. And like I say, it's just to hark back what you initially said with your opening monologue, just to summarise it perfectly. It just wasn't as great in comparison to the stuff in the past, that's all. And
being sandwiched in between a couple of belters, basically.
And I can understand, like, you know, they might have wanted to end it with, like, 3-4, like, real strong matches, and it's just, you know, it could have been better.
Yeah. But overall, with that being said, I think the great matches from TLC took up enough time and left enough of a lasting memory for me to still consider it one of the better pay-per-views of the year. So, overall, a couple of thumbs up. Not too strong, fully erect thumbs up, but still happy with what I saw.
Yep.
Right, will we finish with the quiz?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on a minute till I find the timestamp.
It's fucking quiz time with Ricky and Clive and friends. A fucking WWE quiz.
Right, so, by the way, we no longer have to give an opinion for the rest of 2018. That's us.
Yeah, excited.
It's great, isn't it?
It really is.
So congratulations to you.
And the funny thing is, now we're coming up to this break we're going to have, that I've been texting you and saying I'm actually starting to get rather excited about doing the podcast again in a few weeks' time, so kind of ironic. When I've been texting you every other day telling you how much I hate wrestling.
Every day? Honestly, guys, you should see these texts. Literally affect wrestling almost every other day.
Like, it'll just be dropped in any conversation. 6 o'clock in the morning, you wake up to a message from me at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, I hate wrestling.
It's as if you've got it on auto-tune, just copy and paste.
I just wake up and that's the first thing that comes into my mind.
Right, so the quiz this week. Right, so I have gone for, I think we've only done it once before, where it's a wrestler's full name, including the nickname that they go with, and it's an acronym. So, for example, if I said to you SCSA, who would that be?
I'm not very good at this game. It's Austin, right?
Right, so Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? So
I'm not very good at this game.
Number 1, BTBB. Remember, there's going to be a lot of T's that stand for the in this.
BTBB.
Uh-huh.
Beefcake.
No.
Fuck's sake. I'm
happy to...
not going to get one tonight.
You will. I'm happy to give you a couple of clues.
Right, okay.
Do you want one?
Yes.
Heel manager.
Current?
Oh, no.
old
Old. Heel manager.
BTBB?
And also a colour commentator. Last clue, part of his nickname has a body part.
I'm terrible at this game. I have no idea.
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Wait. You said BTBB?
Oh my god. Clive.
If you rewind and you would listen to it, I actually did say. But
profusely, you get a point for my silliness. That's my own fault.
We'll just pretend it was beefcake.
Yeah, well done. Brutus the Barber Beefcake, correct. Right, let me just double check I've got this one correct. MMRS.
MMRS. Macho Man.
Correct. Number 3. TVRO.
TV. V for Victor.
Yep, so Tango, Victor, Romeo, Oscar. And I've checked and that is correct.
Give me a clue.
Part of the nickname is an animal.
T.
Right,
V. R. O.
And I'll give you a side clue that doesn't count as a clue. The T stands for the.
Okay. TVRO. The. I have no idea.
One more clue. Currently on SmackDown.
TV.
Uh-huh.
Currently on SmackDown. The. Oh, Orton, damn it.
Why is
Because I thought, I always just assumed it was going to be like Randy, nickname, then Orton. Damn it, I didn't think the nickname could be at the start of it.
Now this one I will give you clues straight off the bat.
Oh, no, try me.
Right.
I might surprise you.
Will I do the phonetics thing for it?
If you want.
Right. Sierra Miedo, Penta gone dark here. Sierra. What's B again?
Bravo, is it not? Bravo.
Sierra, Bravo, Juliet, Whiskey. SBJW.
SBJW.
More than happy to give you some clues, because one thing I should tell you is have never, as far as I'm aware, never been associated with WWE. That's a freebie.
SBJW. SBJW. Go on, give me a clue.
They will. They're a gaijin who will be part of this next year's Wrestle Kingdom.
A gaijin. Sorry, what was it again? What?
SBJW.
SBJW. Right, let me fucking run through the card in my head. It's not. It's not him. It's Is it SB? No, it's not him. Try to run through the fucking card in my head.
Do you want another clue?
Yeah.
They are from New Zealand.
SB. Oh, fuck. Again, it's fucking nickname at the beginning, Switchblade.
Will I let you know if the nickname's at the beginning?
No, because he came into my head, but I was like, nah, it's...
Okay, next one. Jai TBV.
Jai TBV.
Uh-huh.
Jai TBV. Give me a clue.
Has been a special guest referee at a SummerSlam world title match.
Jai TBV.
Mm-hmm.
Special ref at SummerSlam. A wrestler.
Yep.
Hmm.
Do you want another clue?
Why not?
They were a governor at the time of this match.
Jai TBV? Nah, no idea. Fucking hell.
Well, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Jesse. The Body Ventura. Right, I have two here where there are only 3 letters.
Okay.
MGO.
MGO.
Uh-huh.
MGO.
Want a clue?
Yep.
An interviewer.
Current interviewer?
No.
Fuck. Fuck knows.
Next one. Let me tell you something. Beep, beep.
What?
Let me tell you something. Beep, beep.
Is that a clue?
Uh-huh.
Oh, right, okay, I wasn't sure what the fuck you were doing.
I was kidding on. I was Hulk Hogan versus the Roadrunner.
Nah, no idea.
Mean Gene Okerlund.
Oh, fuck's sake. Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Fucking hell.
Next one.
My wrestling memory is fucking terrible.
Aye, perfect day of the week for that to happen, isn't it?
I know.
STH.
STH.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know, give me a clue.
Part of an Attitude Era tag team.
ST what, sorry?
H.
Part of an Attitude tag team. STH. No idea.
One of the letters stands for a number. Kind of.
What the fuck do you mean, kind of? STH.
Used to dance a lot.
Oh. Nice. Okay. Scotty to Volley.
Correct. Do you want to just stop this? Because
How many more have we got? It's a shambles for me tonight.
there are 1, 2, 3, 4 left.
No, just give me one more, because I'm fucking terrible at this game.
This will be a funny one. RDVD.
RDVD.
VD.
It's obviously isn't RVD. RDVD.
Yep. Will I give you a clue?
Yep.
This person was a heel on SmackDown after he split up with his tag team member.
Yeah, fucking clues that.
Do you want another clue?
Yes.
Deacon Batista.
Wait, that was his tag team partner?
No.
What again?
RDVD.
Oh, the Reverend?
Go for it.
Devon.
Reverend Devon Dudley.
Aye.
The others, I'll just tell you them, were good old JR, Freak Accident Lars Sullivan, and my favourite, who should have been pushed to the moon, the Blueprint Matt Morgan.
I would have got that.
I know. I don't think I will introduce this quiz segment again.
Please don't, because the last time you done it, I had no idea.
So, guys and girls...
By the way, you do realise all I can see on the screen is just that big Pepsi bottle.
Let me check it out. So you can. Hi there, I'm back. So guys, make sure to check out the rest of the content on Social Suplex Podcast Network. There are loads and loads of things coming out at the moment. It's a special season as well, so you've got One Nation Radio, Outsider's Edge, Keepin It Strong Style, Grown Men Watch This Shit, ourselves, Wilfred Watches Podcast, and Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast. Lots of different things for you to listen to there, and with it being December/January, get lots of different bonuses to sink your teeth into rather than a big turkey leg or some chocolate. We're on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Please rate and review that specific channel on your app of choice, leaving us a big nice 5 stars. socialsuplex.com has links to those podcasts as well as the columns that we put up for 205, NXT, stuff like that, and you can also get them directly to your email by pressing the subscribe button. Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group is where you can find us all for some chats and some nonsense. Don't forget to get a free first month of over 3,000 hours of independent wrestling from across the globe on powerslam.tv with the promo code Social Suplex. We are at Ricky and Clive on Twitter and Facebook. The bonuses that we have coming up for you over the next couple of weeks will we take a break from proceedings. All going well. After this, we are going to be recording with One Nation Radio and Keepin It Strong Style a triple threat tag team quiz only super show. That'll be dropping on the 26th of December, hopefully. All going well with, as I say, what happens after tonight. Basically, the whole episode is just going to be a big super quiz, 5 different rounds, and there's been some conferring. There might not be many points dished out, to be fair, especially to us. And on the 2nd of January, myself, Rance, and Kyle from Outsider's Edge, we opened up a WWE annual, played a board game on it, and had a really good laugh. Some nonsense was had there. Good laugh, wasn't anything taken seriously. I think that'll actually be called the Sizzling Sidewinder episode, and that'll all make sense once you listen to it. And that will actually be, although we've been on Social Suplex for just over a year now, before we became part of that network, we did have our own stuff, and that will be the 100th episode of Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, and Ricky was asleep during it.
I don't regret anything.
I know you don't, but I'm just letting you know that will be the 100th ever episode.
That's alright. I couldn't think of 2 better people to come on in my absence.
That's fair enough.
Well, so I'm happy.
Cool. Anything you want to add before we say goodnight?
Is there anything you want to add before we say goodnight, don't you mean?
What did I say?
Well, I'm not going to bring it up then. I'll say to you off air.
Oh, did I tell you what happened to me in the town the other day?
Here we go. On you go. Tell me.
I saw someone who looked to be from Central Asia, looking lost and stuff like that, and I went up to him. I was being all aggressive and angry and gobby-mouthed, and just arrogant and all that stuff. And I said, excuse me, what country are you from? And they said, Uzbekistan? And I said, no, I'm actually a Nicky Crossmark. Can you please answer my question?
Oh, wow. Right. Wow. Keep your jokes, keep more jokes for this special podcast we've got coming up.
I've only got one, and for that one, and it is non-PC, so we'll see.
That's fine. Tell it straight out of the gate on the next podcast then.
Right, okay.
Anyway, good night, folks.
Good night, and have a happy time with your family. Yep. Whatever you decide to celebrate over the next couple of weeks, celebrate it well.
Indeed. Be safe. Be with your family and friends. Don't be a dick. Enjoy yourselves.
Not got anything to add to that at all.
Good night, folks.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.